And we can bring in Bruno Lété, who is a senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund of the United States, with us from Brussels to try to, I want to try to bring everything together with you. There's so many strands here. Let's talk about the talks first of all. It's a starting point, I guess. The fact that they're willing to get in the same room is something, isn't it?
It is a starting point, but I wouldn't expect too much out of these talks. We see that both parties are very far apart from each other. Ukraine will probably enter the room demanding the withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukrainian territory. But we all know, of course, that Russia's main goal is to take Kiev and also to keep the military operations in Ukraine going. So we shouldn't expect too much out of these talks. Having said that, though, it's clear that things are not going very well for Russia right now. We see that Russia's military operation is not delivering the results that the Kremlin had expected. So one thing that perhaps the parties would agree on is a ceasefire. But in my opinion, this ceasefire would only be interesting for Russia only to win time and to reorganize its armed forces.
And is this because Ukraine has just put up a lot more fight than maybe people expected?
Well, I think that it's extraordinary to see how well organized the Ukrainian armed forces are. The Ukrainian army that we see today is not anymore the Ukrainian army that we saw in 2014. It has modernized at a very rapid pace, and we see that its defense operations are highly effective. On top of that, of course, Western nations have supplied the Ukrainian armed forces with modern, effective weapons. So all this together, contributes to the Ukraine success of defending the country. And we also see that the Russian military operation is suffering logistical problems. It is not well organized.
Can I ask you about the involvement of other European countries, particularly Germany, and its sort of, can I call it a change of heart, or the way it's changed how much it is going to involve itself and supply in this battle?
Well, sitting here in Brussels, I can tell you how formidable times we are witnessing. The European Union has often been blamed for being slow, divided, bureaucratic actor. What we see happening today is completely the opposite. We see the EU rising to the challenge, being united. The developments in Germany are indeed formidable too. What we are seeing today is a recalibration, a 360 turn of German foreign policy towards Russia. Yesterday the German government announced, for instance, also an increase in defense expenditures. The United States has insisted for decades for Germany to increase its defense budget, and Germany always ignored these demands. Russia has just achieved that in only 3 days.
Well, you're saying there's been an increase in speed and urgency from the European Union and from your countries. That's certainly true. But I'm still always interested in about how all this aid, how all this support gets into the hands of the Ukrainians in their fight. Is that a quick process?
Well, we see that things are getting organized quite quickly. Obviously, delivering the aid through air is no longer an option. I mean, this is just, not safe enough. But we see that all along the border with Ukraine, the Polish border especially, centers have been set up, logistical hubs have been set up where Western aid arrives and where Ukrainian armed forces can basically pick up all the goods, the military equipment, but also the humanitarian aid that Europe is delivering. So far, we see that things are getting to the Ukrainian armed forces in a relatively quick and efficient way. The European Union is getting highly organized to deliver the aid.
Bruno Lété, so interesting talking to you. Really thank you for that clarity you've brought us. Talk to you again sometime.
Thank you.